So for those of you who were here last year at last year's conference, you may have remembered that we premiered the Hubject eMobility Startup Award, and it was such a great thing, and it was so much fun that we've decided to do it again this year. So we're very, very pleased to be presenting the second edition of this competition, and just like last year, same procedure, we've invited 4 finalists to give us their very brief elevator pitch, so no more than 5 minutes, to convince our jury that they deserve the trophy for the most innovative e-mobility startup in 2021. So it was a tough competition. It was not easy to narrow it down to 4 finalists, but somehow we managed to do that. And in just a few moments, we're going to hear their pitches. But the first step is to introduce our jury. So, Director, are we ready to introduce the jury? Yes? Okay. So we have from DXBE, Wolf Schlachter, from EV Energy, Nick Woolley, from Hubject, Christian Hahn, and from Improved, Dominik Ude. Welcome, everyone. Okay, guys, well, this year, it's not just the jury that's standing here, but we actually have in our jury somebody who was the winner of last year's eMobility Startup Award. So, Nick, what's it like? What was the year like for you as the winner of the very first Hubject eMobility Startup Award? Tell us about your experience.
Well, it's been awesome. This is working, I think. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a great 12 months. So we are very privileged to be working in this industry. All of us very privileged to be working in this industry. It's growing rapidly. We're all experiencing that growth. And it's great building new business relationships. And we've been delighted to build a great business relationship with Christian and the team at Hubject over the last 12 months. So we've done, we obviously won the award. That was delightful. We did it all remotely. Sadly, we couldn't meet face to face. We're meeting face to face for the first time today. Actually,
unbelievable! Unbelievable! Oh my god!
And we started off. We've done some business together, which is what we're all about. We've worked together. We've delivered some data projects together, and we've also integrated our software together. And yeah, we're scaling up, and we've had a great year working together.
So you do recommend winning this award?
Yeah, I mean, it's yes.
All right, that's good. That's what we want to hear. And so why don't we get right to it? So I think we're all very excited to hear from the 4 startup candidates. And the first one that's up is a startup called Pionix. So Pionix, where are you? Here you are. Welcome. Yay. So just introduce yourself briefly, and then we will start the timer at 5 minutes for your elevator pitch, but we're not going to take away the time to introduce yourself. So just
Thank you. My name is Marco Möller. I'm a physicist and founded some companies before, and last year had, together with my team, the idea to go to eMobility, and I think we found a really interesting niche I want to share with you today.
Awesome. Go for it.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so we are Pionix. We have the idea of creating an operating system for charge points. If it's AC or DC, doesn't matter. We think there's something broken in the industry. Can you go to the next slide, please? How to switch to the next slide?
Can we have it from our director, or do we need a clicker? Okay, can we pause the clock, please?
Thank you.
Okay, so the next slide. Yeah.
Okay, and what we actually want to solve here is, let's say, a mess we think is there in the industry. Thanks a lot. There are a lot of players, and I'm not just saying there are different companies creating wall boxes or AC/DC charger. We think there's something bigger to this industry, or the energy provider and whatever. And since there are so many players, so many people who have a stake in this, everyone has interest, everyone wants to play a game, and it comes out with a high fault rate. At the moment, if you are on the highway and want to charge, you know what I mean. It's really expensive and slow in development, and it's a complex mechanism to actually get innovation into this market. And since we are a young market and so many players, it's really fragmented. And I think we can solve it by something what's there in other industries. If we look on, for example, the Android path, or maybe let me tell a story from my own experience. I had a drone startup created in 2009. When we started, we did all proprietary software like everyone in the market did. There have been some open source solutions. Everyone was laughing again over them. I sold my company 2016 to Intel. 2 years later, Intel spent since then hundreds of millions of dollars into this drone software stack. They just threw it away and restarted with open source. Since meanwhile, this open source bubble grew and grew and grew, basically overtook the entire market, and it brought really a lot shortened development cycles. It pulled in a lot of external contributors. So all the universities contributed to the same software stack. All the enthusiasts contributed. Every industry player contributed to one software solution, which you just have to pick, customize, and make your own custom product out of this. And I think we can do the same in the EV mobility market. There are at the moment some players who create charge controllers. I don't want to blame them on anything. They have implemented certain standards to get it running. Everyone did it slightly different, so you get compatibility hiccups here and there, and everything is not running as smooth as it should. And I think with Everest, we have a solution to this. And so this solution everyone can benefit from it. So we don't want to make a standard, we want to make a de facto standard. So a software core everyone can utilize. So for example, if you charge a wallbox manufacturer, you can just use that source code, put it on your wallboxes, and extend it to get your unique selling points on top of it. Let's say you want to do Bitcoin payment in a wallbox. Then you can just focus on that big Bitcoin payment, but don't have to do all the underlying technologies. They're already there. It comes with batteries included. If you are a car manufacturer and you want to prepare your next generation of cars and want to test that, you don't have to test with all charge points. You're just testing it with an core stack which is available for everyone. If you want to get new features in, you're just donating them to this community, and everyone will get them sooner than later. And what we as a company want to do around this, we're initializing this. We are donating that software stack. We're working with venture capitalists and also with our own money to really bootstrap this. And later on, we also want to earn money. We will create a commercial version of the software stack. It will be certified. Open source is sometimes a bit messy. There are sometimes so many contributions that's not stable in every moment in time. We will take care of that for you. We will create update services, so we basically could be a software department in the background to get your custom updates running on your chargers out there of your clients. And we're also helping, let's say, players like Volkswagen and others in the industry to get features in the software stack if they don't want to do it themselves. To bootstrap this, we're creating a development box charger, which comes with basically a superset of all hardware features you can imagine. So you can create your solutions on top of that and just get started really quickly. And later on, we also will offer modules you can use in your chargers. You can also use your own hardware. It will be really universal. It will be really freely licensed, MIT license, in case you know what that means. So I think that's something we can make a really big change in the charging industry by bringing the industry together. Everyone we're talking to is really enthusiastic about this. I mean, sure, we will give something out for free, but I think it can bring all of us a big step forward. And I want to come to an end with that and invite all of you to becoming part of that ecosystem. So basically, just everyone can only profit, and I think it can save all of us a lot of time and can make innovations faster. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. There's a lot of detail packed into 5. Oh, thank you. I get to sit down. No, not only I do. Okay, good. All right, so we will now have one question from 2 of our jury members. And who would like to begin?
If you want to start.
Yes, awesome presentation. So where are you seeing the biggest traction to date for this service?
The biggest attraction of...
The biggest amount of traction. Which customers which markets? Where are you seeing traction for it?
So we are at the moment talking to a lot of, let's say, small to also large size manufacturers of chargers, and they're all struggling with getting developers on board. So basically, we tell them, like, you don't have to do this entire coding from OCPP, ICNC21, you don't have to do that all yourself. It's there, you just have to focus on what's special to you. And that's a huge benefit. And yes, we have quite some discussions.
Marco, thank you very much also from my side. Quite impressive. And as you mentioned, there's definitely a lot of complexity in the market right now. But what do you think, how much time do you need to make this happen?
So if you look on these transitions, how they happen in other industries, I mean, basically our industry itself is the transition from fossil fuels to electric. So you know how this S-curve works. And this open source adoption S-curve typically takes something around 3 years-ish, or maybe 5 years until it's really proliferated. So we know we have to get funding for this first 3 years without any significant revenue and to getting it out there. So we also prepared for basically 90% of the users will never pay us any money, so we want to make it really big that the fraction who is interested in paying us and in our services actually makes us strive from this. And yeah, it will take a couple of years to, first it's a catch-up, then it's a takeover, typically.
Okay, only 2 questions, 2 answers. Thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Whew, this is an intense format. I mean, I hope everybody recognizes what these guys are up against. This is very, very challenging. Okay, but that's why they're the finalists, right? Like that they made it this far. All right, our next startup candidate, or finalist, I should say, is TorCharge. So TorCharge, here you are. Hello. So again,
Hello.
Just for whatever reason, I didn't get everybody's name, so please do introduce yourself, and that will not be deducted from your 5-minute elevator pitch, but we'd like to hear about you and who you are.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Thorsten Sobi. I've been in the electric mobility world for almost 10 years now, first at a car maker, then in car sharing, and now, just last year, I founded my first company, TorCharge. So electric mobility is booming. The electric cars are registered at a really high rate, but there's a problem. We need to ramp up the charging infrastructure at the same rate. But charging infrastructure can be very complicated, or has a lot of challenges. First, it's very complicated, which means we are all experts, but there are a lot of people who come into contact with charging infrastructure for the first time. So they've never heard about AC charging, DC charging, load management, and so on. Second, it's very complex, which means there's a lot of interactions between the mobility world, at what times do the cars arrive at the charging point, how long do they stay, and so on. And the other side, it's the energy world. So there's solar energy at different times, and this all needs to be combined. And finally, of course, it's very expensive. This is why we need to implement charging infrastructure very efficiently. Otherwise, it will not be economical, and there will not be a lot of investment in charging infrastructure. Of course, there are a lot of different other challenges, but these are the 3 main challenges we are tackling. So how do we do this? First, we have developed a cloud solution which enables to simulate thousands or hundreds of different electric cars in combination with charging infrastructure to find the best and optimal solution. So questions like, how many charging spots do we need? Do we need fast chargers? Does it make sense to combine it with a battery, stationary battery, or maybe with a solar panel? So all of these questions are simulated in an online simulator to optimize and plan charging infrastructure. But this we need to make as easy as possible so almost anybody can use it. So from an expert who's planning a fleet of hundreds of vehicles to a private user who's maybe buying his first electric car. So it needs to be very easy to use. It needs to be interactive and fast. So this means you need to try different scenarios, what makes sense, to understand what are the system behind, how does it work, what does load management, for example, what can it do. And it needs to be at a really low price so anybody really can use it. And this we are providing via an online web-based tool which anybody can use. So for example, fleet managers which are planning Do they need how many electric cars can they incorporate? Do they need cars with a high range, or is a slow range enough? It's important for property developers, which are maybe, or supermarkets, which want to set up charging stations for their clients and customers, and also for private users or private households, which maybe have an electric car and want to know, does it make sense to install a solar panel? So where do we stand right now? We're in as I said, the simulation is already working. We can simulate hundreds of thousands of different charging stations and optimize it to find the right solution. Based on this, we are already providing consultancy, so mainly for B2B customers. We've already simulated more than 1,000 charging points, which are installed right now. Where do we want to go next? We want to enrich the scope and scope. This means we want to look for new scenarios. For example, we haven't looked at buses and trucks right now. We want to expand into this area. And also, we want to implement the online-based tool, which anybody can use. Here you can see it's a screenshot from a beta version. So it's already functional, but it's not usable right now for end user, which has maybe no experience with charging infrastructure. This is why right now we need to sit together with anybody who wants to use it, but the next step, and we're already working on this, will be available to anybody. And this is what we are focusing on customer experience. And we also think this has a good influence also on the B2B usage. If it's a tool which is very easy to use and has a lot of scenarios and can be modified just for the individual demands, we think this has a great benefit. And this is how we want to accelerate the transition to more sustainable and renewable mobility. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a very impressive presentation. So I think from my side, maybe one question you have is that how do you see your competition or potential competition? You do have some providers of full service or EV charging solutions that sometimes have their views about the optimized system. How do you distinguish yourself vis-a-vis those players, for instance, and who are your other competitors? Yeah,
it's a really good point. And as you said, there are competitions which have either a full stack, they supply anything, from the consultancy to the final project, but we want to be independent. So anybody who was planning charging infrastructure can use this, and we know it won't lead to the outcome from company XYZ, which might be biased. So we want to be very independent, and we want to be very interactive and fast. So it's not you send in a request and get a response maybe a week later by email. You want to do it online, get an instant feedback, understand how it works. Okay, maybe this is a good point. Maybe I don't need fast charging. Wall boxes with load management might be enough. So really a good user experience where anybody can use it and benefit from it.
Thank you.
So from my point of view, you have built a data aggregation platform from that view. One question, how you will monetize this? Because you have lots of data sources, not owning the data is coming not from you, you have to aggregate them. So from that point of view, I would like to know how is it possible to work in B2B and B2C, this combination, because, well, you could imagine that a normal household will not pay thousands of euros for optimization of a charger park or a simple parking place where you have a 11 kilowatt wall box beside. So this is one question. The other one is, you need a kind of an intelligence behind on decision making. How is it handled? You have an AI, artificial intelligence solution already in stage, or how does it work?
Yeah. So of course, I mean, anything right now is artificial intelligence, but this is it's artificial intelligence. It's a big simulation. Where you can simulate hundreds of simulations in parallel, and it optimizes to a few solutions. For example, one is most cost efficient. The other one is more focused on really fulfilling all the demands so all the cars are charged. And this is AI based and finds the best solution. Coming back to the first question on how to monetize it, this is I mean, we have in a B2B case, the customer knows often how the user is, at what time he's arriving. For example, the supermarket knows at what time his customers are coming, so he can introduce his parameters. So for example, he knows 5 minutes after the supermarket opens, a lot of cars come, so he draws his own line of usage, but also can use some data. We have like predefined data, a typical supermarket customer, a typical employee who arrives 9 o'clock in the morning and leaves at 6 p.m. in the evening. So he can combine the data which is already in our system with his own individual data. And to monetize it, of course, that's why it's important that the price for B2C customers is very low. So when he gets the first time, wants to simulate his charging infrastructure, it cannot be very expensive. He doesn't want to spend a lot of money. And this is why we think with a high automation that we can reach it compared to a other system which is more consultancy behind it, which takes longer. And this is how we monetize it and think we can spread from B2C to B2B on large scale.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. 5 minutes, 2 questions. Many thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was... Okay, next up, we have a startup called Wattpark. So welcome, Wattpark. Oh dear, they're coming with furniture. Yeah, clap, of course. Welcome them, yay. All right, so same routine that we need. Oh, the prop there.
Yep.
Just quickly introduce yourself, just yourself personally, and we'll start the clock when you start your pitch.
Yes. So hello everyone. I'm Bertrand Lepage, the CEO and co-founder of Wattpark, a full ecosystem to charge electric vehicles based on reservation and collaboration.
Okay, so you're on.
Super. So the solution was created years ago, along with the other co-founder, which happens to be my father, and we have been driving electric vehicle for the last 10 years. 10 years ago, driving an electric vehicle was quite chaotic, and so it's pretty similar to what we experience today. So when driving an electric vehicle, we faced 2 major issues that we wanted to tackle. The first one was density. Since we were not living in Paris, as you can see from my accent, I'm French, but we are still living like 100 kilometers from Paris. Like the density of charging infrastructure is pretty low, so it's very hard for us, to charge our vehicle. Pretty simple, and it's the same problem today. But there was also a problem of accessibility. In those areas, suburbs, but also in rural areas, the network connectivity is pretty bad, and it's still the same today. So it was almost impossible for us, to access the charging station when there was one. So we decided to create a full solution, a protocol that works both online but also offline. So you are sure to access the charging station everywhere you go, regardless of the quality of the connectivity. But it's not only that. Wattpark has been called like the Airbnb of EV charging stations. As I told you in the beginning, we are based on collaboration. For us, we bring together charging stations owner and EV driver under the same umbrella. We bring that together. And we offer some community-based approach, which makes sense for us, and this is our approach for electric mobility. As a charging station owner, you can obviously use this for yourself, but you can share it with the rest of the community, so you can generate revenues out of it. As an electric vehicle driver, you have the smartphone application, and you can reserve any charging station that has been shared, so at the date and time that you desire. So you have the assurance that the charging station will be only available for you when you actually need it at your destination. Also, the applications allows you to connect directly with the charging station at your destination if you do have connectivity, but it also works offline even though if you don't have any network coverage. That's the big difference. So our model and our ecosystems is based on three things. So we sell a charging station that we manufacture at scale in France. You can actually reserve it, you can monetize it, but you can obviously charge any type of electric vehicle since we offer two types of plugs behind this. Like there's a type 2 and a domestic plug, so you can charge any type of electric vehicle. There's an application that you can download for the electric vehicle driver, so you can locate, reserve any charging station available. And as I told you, the community-based model through our online platform, same as Airbnb, where the owner can collect 90% of any transaction placed on his parking space equipped with his charging station, and we collect 10%. One more thing, the technology that we have developed can be plug and play and embedded into every EV chargers in the market. This technology offers new opportunities for many actors such as charging stations manufacturers, but also mobility operators and also e-roaming platform. Thank you very much.
Wow, the pitches just kept getting shorter. That's amazing. 2 questions for our finalist.
Sure. Bertrand, thank you very much for this insightful presentation. If I got it right, you're focusing on AC charging. Do you have any plans on DC charging as well, or are you saying, based on your business approach, that's even not needed to focus on DC charging?
For now, we are only focusing on AC charging. So this model is actually being distributed with a 3.7 kilowatt, but also 7.4. So it's only focusing on AC charging. But the technology itself can be embedded into any other EV chargers. We already had like some strategic partnerships with a DC chargers manufacturer, which enables like the watt park ecosystem on EV chargers that can go up to 300 kilowatts.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome presentation. I wanted to ask about the opportunity because it feels like the opportunity is very significant for this kind of solution. Off-street parking is a real challenge associated with electric vehicle charging. I mean, on-street charging, solutions are a real challenge. You've got 2 strands to your business model, as I understand it. One of them is very much on the hardware side. One of them is very much on the software side. Yep. Where do you see the biggest opportunity? And as a startup with limited resources, where do you focus? Where do you put your time and effort today? But
for us, we are currently facing like a major issue. We started as a startup because we had only like one product to show. But since we started to distribute the products like a year ago, we received like an enormous amount of demand from everywhere in the world. This connectivity issue is not only like in France, it happens like everywhere in Europe, anywhere in the world. So we receive multiple demands in Asia, Middle East, Africa, everywhere. So we are like, okay, we're a startup right now, but we need to move to like the second stage. And the second stage, you need to think almost as an industrial partner. So this can only be profitable for us if we manufacture at scale. So the minimum amount of production is 1,000. So we already sold like 1,000 of those stations, and we are producing like a new batch of 5,000 units, like only to address France for the next year. So as you say, like there's a lot of challenge for us because we're only like 5 hardworking people like in the company, and we need like to shift and scale up already to make sure. And I think everyone is aware that electric mobility is booming. This is where we're all here. But we need to make sure that we keep the model and the vision, like this community-based vision, but also adapt to the demand that is like growing constantly.
Great, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Okay. I know I can feel that there are so many more questions that I could see it. And our jury was just dying to ask even more questions, but we have to be fair. Each one gets 5 minutes and 2 questions, and everything needs to be said to keep it fair. Okay. But you can still talk to them after the event, right? Okay. All right. So last but not least, we would like to welcome the startup Zoop. Zoop, welcome.
Hello.
So same procedure, just a quick personal introduction, and then we will start the clock for your pitch.
Yeah, this is Kerem Odabaşı. I'm the founder of Zoop. So I'm here to present Zoop to you all. Actually, I'm an engineer also, but doing a master degree on industrial design and a PhD on renewable energy technologies. I think you'll see also the combination of all in Zoop idea. So shall we start?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The floor is yours. We should hopefully see your slides.
Yeah. Actually, there was a video in the second slide. It was just, instead of slides.
Can we pause the clock, please? Because we do want to...
Yeah, now it starts. And it sounds a bit slow, so that I can explain. Actually, Zoop is a shared mobility platform. We didn't design only the digital side of it. We designed a whole vehicle. And actually, it's a two-seaters vehicle. And it's meant to use in city environments, especially for short distance. It can charge itself with the help of solar energy, but it's also used from the external power sources. It's a hardware platform which you can share in the city, but not only moving one point to another part of the city, you can also integrate other digital services. That's our actually vision. So it means that once you book, you reserve your this mini vehicle, you can also have a city tour experience. What I mean that we are creating some experiences. It could be a shopping experience, it could be a touristic experience, but at the end, so we can lower down even more a bit. That's one of the videos which I explain it. Yeah, go down, please. Yeah, I'm here already to explain it all to you. Isn't it better? So with this application, you can use these shared vehicles. But I was saying that the idea is not limited with mobility. As we know, all mobility is in a rapid transformation. And coming from a digital side of engineering background, I see that actually a lot of digital services could be integrated with mobility. It will start with tourism, entertainment, or whenever I sit on a Zoop vehicle, I can say that I'm hungry, I want to eat something, and Zoop will advise you where to eat. So that's our vision actually. We would like to integrate with the smart city environment. And these small vehicles, they are especially small size L category vehicles, which means that they are not a normal car. It's like a motorbike. You can drive it by a motorbike license. Yeah, and they are easy to park. They spend less energy. So there's an eco-friendliness about this concept. As you see, I'm explaining that while you sit, one of our first application will be touristic tour. Imagine that in Berlin, you can choose a tour about history or pop culture. Or the next thing will be with my girlfriend, where can I eat? So there is no limitation. And one other step will be sharing your experience on your social media. So Zoop will collage a video of your experience, and then you can share it on your social media account, actually. So on my last slide, I'll be glad if you are connected also on LinkedIn. I would like to hear your also ideas, and it's a kind of a platform to gather, and we don't also claim that we will do everything ourselves. We are open to cooperation because we would like to be in a position that one startup has a product or a service, digital service, which we can integrate it, and we are there to do it. And I think we will also start, I'm here in Berlin, to aiming that to extend or expand our idea globally, starting from Berlin. So we did already a pilot project in Izmir, on the west coast of Turkey, and we have a quite success even in this pandemic time difficulties. We have a really high rate of user satisfaction, let's say, and we already optimize our operation tasks there, but we still have some things to learn. And so I'm glad to be in Berlin to introduce you all and to you all. So I'll be glad if you will be connected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So 2 questions.
Kerem, thank you for the presentation. This is great. I think that, look, clearly this is a market where many people will want to find a solution. You go to different cities, whether they're small, big, in different countries. Huge market, no question about this. How it will be served is an interesting question as well. And I think that when I look at this, I see, okay, there's a software play, there's a contents play, there's obviously a hardware play with the vehicle. How have you articulated your partnership? Because I know you say in the presentation you opened the partnership.
Yeah.
But what is your kind of a 1.0 strategy to get things going from a point of view of partnerships?
Yeah.
Have you identified already some of them, or do you have a list of which ones are most important?
Yeah. Actually, one of the things is technology. The other one is the community. Like we did already, in our pilot, we already did cooperate with some companies like FEV from Germany. They are Aachen-based, and we did autonomous campus shuttle project together, which we will implement these autonomous functionalities also on the later stage to Zoop. Secondly, we already cooperate with the municipality because they are quite interested in to promote the city. So the next step will be, today we have already have a meeting with Berlin Partners company, or is their society to promote the Berlin startups. So they, in a way that actually we would like to create an environment which everybody benefits. So technologically, community-wise, and startup ecosystem. But as I said, we don't claim that we will do all the things ourselves. The idea is gather the services or contents, cloud-based, digital, it could be algorithm, which we can run a Google algorithm on a vehicle to create an added value service. So actually, my dream is to create a platform just alternative to mobile phone. It will happen, but we think that these small vehicles has a better potential to make this things better than a car industry, because car industry is going strongly, but a bit slowly in the sense of integrating this kind of service in the city. And Zoop has that potential.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Kerem, this was a funny presentation from my side, because when I saw the video, I thought about, well, this is a combination of Sono Motors with a solar roof on the one hand side, and the other side is Microlino. So it's both in one product. And from the hardware side, I could imagine it's quite complicated to grow with the hardware. So what you explained, you want to grow with the software, and that means with the customers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you don't want to sell, let's say, the hardware, the cars. You want to sell, let's say, solutions to customer. So how is the combination of this business model? How does it work for you, or how can it work? Because you have to partner, that's what you just mentioned, or Dominique asked a few seconds ago. So this is the monetization of, well, the business model. Are you selling the cars beside, or is it, let's say, only a vehicle to push, let's say, the loyalty with your customers you are building up?
Actually, as an entrepreneur, I see that, especially in an environment, rapid change happens. You need to have a plan, but on the way, if the things change, if there's a demand, you should go for it. So on our way, we see that people want to buy also these vehicles. I receive demands from all over the world, and it's interesting. But because once you sell the car, you need to also supply. But we are on a stage to have a partnership with a producer, really one of the big automotive producers back in Turkey. Turkish people are good in producing things, better than, I guess, in China. It's a bit difficult communications as well. So we will wait. When the right time comes, the cars would be also on sale. But when we put the vehicles on city, it will already promote itself. It's a living showroom. So that's why our starting point will be having a fleet in Berlin to make it the system visible and try to collect the ecosystem around it to show that this can possibly done. And I think as a computer engineer background person, I would say that the rapidness of digital world is much faster than a production side of it. So that's why we'll push first digital part of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. Thank you again from Zoop. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So many fantastic ideas. I'm so glad I'm not on the jury, that I have to make a decision about who wins this award. But jury members, I will give you a couple of minutes to think, to let it sink in, to speak to one another, to deliberate. So you do that, and in the meantime, maybe I can kind of entertain our audience for a few moments with some maybe just silly or fun questions. So you can like huddle, together and just discuss and, put the microphones away so nobody can hear anything. And we'll just have some fun with our Mentimeter, because we have some silly questions that we wanted to ask all of you. So if you can just log into that for a moment, we have some just fun things that I can ask you. So let's see. Do we get to see them? There we are. Yeah. So just scan the QR code again, or you can enter the code that we've been using all day long. And we just had a fun question to ask you guys. So I wanted to test your trivia knowledge. So does anybody know what was the fastest speed that was raced by an electric ice cream van? So what do you guys think? I'm not really sure. How are the questions set up? Is it like a multiple choice? Can we see that? Can anybody guess? What do you guys think the fastest speed that was raced by an electric ice cream van? And somebody obviously measured this. So you have another 45 seconds to think about how you would answer this. What does everybody think? Was it 128 kilometers an hour, or 93 kilometers an hour, or 62 kilometers? It's an ice cream van. I can't tell you if it was full of ice cream or if it was an empty ice cream van. That I don't know. But so what do you guys think? All right, should I just tell you the answer? I think we should be getting people's guesses in, but I don't really see people's guesses. All right, so I think the clock is 3, 2, 1. Time's up? Okay, okay, so we do say, wow, we have some smart people here. So yes, the correct answer was indeed 128 kilometers an hour. Not bad for an ice cream truck. Oh my goodness, unbelievable. Okay, so we've got another question for you guys. Let's see. You got the first one right, most of you did. So which EV brand do you think went up a glacier and set a world record for the highest altitude achieved in an electric car? So these are the multiple choice options that we have. It was Tesla Model S, the Neo ES8, or Lucid Air. So which of those three do you think was the one that successfully went up a glacier and then set a world record for highest altitude in an electric car? So give us your best guess. You have another 32 seconds to submit your answer. Okay, another 15 seconds. And then we can take a look how people replied to this one. Ooh, interesting. So, okay, so let's have another one. Okay, there was Range anxiety is an unfamiliar term for this EV world record from 2017. How far did it travel on one charge? Oh my goodness. So what was the longest that we had a record for traveling on a single charge? So your options are 977 Ks, 1,235 Ks, or 1,605 Ks. And I think we've been talking about people worried about like having a range of 200 as being amazing. So weird. Okay, so another 23 seconds. You guys are all set? Okay, so we'll just wait to see how our audience guessed on this question. Do you have a guess? So what do you think is the world record for traveling in a single charge? Okay, let's see. All right. What was the answer? Whoa! Gosh, nobody really. I think there's the fewest number of people who correctly guessed how far this EV was able to travel on a single charge. And we're like, EV experts here who are optimistic about what's possible, but clearly not optimistic enough. Okay, amazing. Okay, so enough of that. We have now a verdict, I believe, from our jury about the winner of this year's Hubject eMobility Startup Prize.
You're totally right, and we are very proud and very happy that it was a relatively quick decision, I need to say. I think it took us less time than last year. It was quite impressive. So maybe we are more aligned. That could be one reason for this. And of course, it was also a great presentation. Like all presentations today were really impressive. I think that's really showing also a bit the diversity of eMobility. So that is not only one solution presented 4 times, but in fact we have 4 completely different solutions seen today on stage. Again, quite impressive, all of them. But in the end, we needed to make a choice, unfortunately. And as we have seen, you're quite strict, not only on timing, but also on the options we are having. So therefore, we have made a choice, and we think, again, all presentations were quite impressive, and we wish all the companies all the best. But we decided for the presentation from Watt Park. So therefore, Bertrand, would be great if you can come up on stage.
Watt Park.
Watt Park, exactly.
I'm coming back down tonight, 'cause I've been hypnotized by the lights. But I'm coming home, I'm coming back down tonight.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Really impressive presentation, and we all would like to give a short statement why we think your presentation and your solution has definitely deserved to win the second Hubject eMobility Startup Award. Maybe I'm starting with my
Hang on just 1 second. Give Matt his trophy.
But
oh my gosh. No, like he just is so far away. In the beginning, let him hold it in his hands.
Then I'm really happy to give you this award.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Yay, there we go. That's it, yay.
And why do we think you have deserved this prize so much? From my point of view, I'm really impressed by not only by your presentation, but also by the very specific perspective of your solution. I think that was really, really, really insightful to see that you are having a very clear perspective on the needs of the market and have a very clear solution for the needs. That was really, really, really impressive. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, congratulations.
I completely echo Christian's comments. I think also, in addition, it's a huge problem that you're trying to solve, and you have clearly demonstrated that you're getting traction with customers and people wanting to help collaborate on solving that problem too.
Yep. Thank you.
And I would add to that indeed, I think what is impressive is how specific you've been able to be about the market to fill here. Because we often say, look, it's very important to be aligned with the right type of market. But this is not only about the market size. In this case, it is sizable, but it's also about market accessibility and the sense of positioning vis-a-vis the potential competition. And I think here that's quite well done in that context. So best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we believe that scalability is one of the main topics, and so far you presented a really good business model where we believe it works.
Super.
That's quite simple.
Thank you very much.
So congratulations again. And ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of day one of the Intercharge Network Conference 2021. It's been a full day. We have a lot to digest, and hopefully we can digest what we learned and listened to and experienced today, also with some dinner and some networking opportunities, and not to be missed, our traditional gin tasting. So all of that is happening right now. I wish all of you an enjoyable evening, and I look forward to welcoming you all back here again tomorrow, early in the morning, for day 2. So take care and see you then. Bye.